Story 1. Honestly, social media and dating applications have ruined it. People give up on relationships so easily because of these platforms. Sometimes the grass isn't greener on the other side. Story 2. I think dating apps are dehumanizing. Everyone is worth more than a simple swipe. It doesn't feel genuine to meet people that way. While some individuals may find a solid relationship, it seems to be very rare. Story 3. It's awful. Dating apps play a significant role in this issue. They have completely distorted perceptions and expectations for many individuals. Story 4. Online dating has changed the dating landscape significantly. In the past, people invested time and effort into building relationships. Now, with online dating, individuals have access to thousands of potential partners at their fingertips. Unfortunately, many do not realize that having access to so many options does not mean they can pursue all of them. This often leads to a lack of serious effort in developing a connection with one person. Story 5. The fact that we are calling it a market is quite revealing of my perspective. Social media has made it overly transactional. I have lost track of the number of people who feel entitled to affection and second dates simply because they offered to pay for the first. You are much more than your financial status. Stop believing you can purchase a relationship. If you want to pay for intimacy, consider hiring a professional. Story 6. A blame game occurs when individuals perceive others as terrible due to a vocal minority and a reluctance to compromise. Story 7. 8 years of trying and failing at the age of 25 because nobody meets in person anymore and dating applications just take your money. I'm tired and I've had enough, but if it happens sometime in the foreseeable future, then it happens. Story 8. Does anyone really want to date anymore? It seems that people are getting cheated on frequently. With social media, I guess it is easier than ever to cheat. Story 9. As a married person, I'm relieved not to be part of it. As a straight woman, I would probably feel somewhat on edge. My husband and I have several wonderful male friends, so I don't need a lecture and understand that it's not all men. However, I've heard too many horror stories from my single female friends about the toxic and sometimes violent-sounding individuals they've encountered. Dealing with that sounds like a nightmare. For both men and women, once you reach your early 30s, it seems to get harder to meet new people in general. Story 10. It's very similar to the job market. There are too many ways to connect with people, which devalues everyone. You need to be brief with people, or else you can get overwhelmed by messages, causing you to miss many amazing connections because you didn't take the time to actually talk. There's always someone who appears to be a better fit than you, even if that person is completely fake. We essentially have to be superficial just to have a chance of sifting through the sea of people looking for love or a job, with whom you still don't know the first thing about. Story 11. I have never participated in online dating and I am completely fine with not doing so, even if it increases my chances of remaining single. Life is challenging enough as it is. I am autistic and I feel exhausted from having to navigate society most days. Story 12. I believe people treat dating like a game. Finding a compatible partner is not a game. It is a process of being vulnerable and getting to know others. It requires effort, time, patience, and determination. Story 13. I broke up with my ex-girlfriend a couple of months ago. I'm not ready to date again yet, but I am definitely not looking forward to it. I remember that before I met my ex-girlfriend, I had to go through many terrible matches on dating apps and so many pointless dates. Story 14. No one has an attention span anymore. Everyone thinks the grass is greener on the other side. Few are interested in a lifelong partner. Instead, they seek temporary connections until the feelings fade, moving on to the next relationship when it no longer feels warm and fuzzy. Story 15. In my opinion, the problem is that there is no accountability anymore. Before dating applications, people mostly met through existing communities, so poor behavior would reflect negatively within the community. However, now there is no broader community to hold individuals accountable, so all bets are off. Story 16. It's never been harder for me. Trying to meet women, set up dates, and find time for them is almost impossible with my wife always around. Story 17. I believe I am one of the fortunate individuals because I have experienced significant success in many applications and chance encounters in person. I do not consider myself particularly handsome. Story 18. People have become so short-sighted. Wrong shoes? End of dating. An argument? End of dating. The older you get, the more people with serious issues are left to choose from. As a man, I often feel used for sex, and I consider ending my dating life. Being single may be lonely, but it's better than being accused of issues in order for the other person to maintain their ego. I never try to point out people's issues. I accept that it's who they are. I try to find a way, but most people act like you have to be perfect to meet their standards. If you are not, they find truly bad ways to end it. There is no consideration for each other's feelings. Even when you don't want to date, it's cold and no fun at all. As a young man, you take enjoyment from the physical aspect. Now, I couldn't care less about it. So what's left? Opening up yourself time after time, only to see people walk away. Even a strong mind will get damaged after a while. And for what? A life with a partner? I had that. It was great for a few years, but ended horribly. So even if you find a partner, the chances it ends well are not great. We have examples from the past, from marriages that worked, our parents. But we forget that they had far fewer options in life. Marriage and relationships were, in certain ways, more stable, less beaten by other possible options in life that are now presented to us constantly. I forgive, I recover, I try, but each time, my faith and hope diminish. Story 19. During COVID, I was doing online dating. I was in the best shape of my life and had a baby raccoon as a pet. It was easy to find connections. I actually met the love of my life on Farmers Only. I would do it again if necessary, but I wouldn't want to. Online platforms often make it seem like things are much worse. Story 20. Newly single after 4 years, we split up and I can't even begin to think about dating, especially at 49. Story 21. This doesn't give me hope. I am 36 years old and have had terrible luck, but I am also very shy. I want someone I find attractive, but I don't want to feel like I am pursuing someone solely based on their looks. By the time I get to know their personality, they are usually in a relationship or I never see them again. Story 22. It seems almost impossible to keep a woman interested long-term. I made the mistake of getting attached in the past. Now I just wait until they eventually pull away one random afternoon. Story 23. People rightly criticize dating apps for being exploitative, but I believe many individuals struggle to present their best selves. It is surprising how many profiles in their 30s resemble those written by teenagers. Story 24. I believe the sentiment that the dating market is challenging actually exacerbates the issue. Many individuals approach dating with a negative mindset and unrealistic expectations. Given the current state of the world and various factors, it is understandable that people's desire to date and their experiences in dating have been adversely affected. However, the broad generalizations made about dating today or about either gender are not contributing positively to the situation. Story 25. Many people are primarily interested in casual relationships rather than long-term commitments. Recognizing and accepting this fact can make dating much easier, as it helps you identify which category you belong to. Story 26. The current dating market feels like shopping for groceries while blindfolded. You hope you don't end up with expired milk. Everyone is swiping, but no one is really looking, so it resembles a strange mix of speed dating and casual ghosting. Story 27. Beyond terrible. I wouldn't be surprised if historians look back on the 2020s as the worst decade for dating this century or the last. Why? Online dating skews expectations for the partner you want or believe you deserve. Personally, accountability seems to be in short supply these days, so people don't care to become better partners. There is an illusion of choice from social media and dating applications. It is easier to be alone now with so many distractions from socializing. In my opinion, the more entertaining it is to live as isolated as possible, the more difficult dating will be. Story 28. All I hear from other men is that women have excessively high standards for a guy and no standards for themselves. They complain about having to be the best version of themselves, fit, groomed, interesting, just to be told they aren't good enough by women who are overweight, which is not an issue for me, but I would be frustrated by the double standard if it is true, broke, and completely delusional about what kind of guy they deserve. All I hear from the single women I know, and honestly what I see a lot on social media since I know fewer single women than single men in real life, is that the bar is incredibly low, and men somehow still fail to clear it. They complain about men misrepresenting themselves in their photos, constantly lying about their height, which apparently men are quite concerned about, much like size. Pretending to want something serious, only to immediately try to hook up or ghost right after, and refusing to get a real job because their podcast is just about to take off. It's no surprise that a record number of people under 30 are single, with many still being virgins. If those accusations aren't true, that's at least the perception from the other side, and it has made everyone suspicious and resentful. I'm just glad I got off that sinking ship in 2021 and found someone before it all apparently fell apart. Story 29. Dating sites, while never perfect due to some sleazy aspects, seem more problematic and less useful these days. With swiping, everything revolves around looks. This may work if you are exceptionally attractive, but it can lead to worse outcomes down the line. Over time, people have been conditioned by the apps, and dating through these platforms can feel like a job interview. For me, before I quit the apps, it very much was just that, not exactly romantic. I am still single, and the thought of returning to an even worse situation than the one that currently exists is quite horrifying. This conditioning of people on the apps can be counterproductive to finding a compatible mate, but it is well ingrained at this point. There are a few positive developments here and there, with groups trying to bring back opportunities for singles to meet in a casual atmosphere with lower pressure, not speed dating. For those accustomed to the apps, this may be an unfamiliar and perhaps uncomfortable experience given their app training. My greatest hope is that these positive developments grow and become more common, allowing people to return to a more reasonable way of meeting others and forming relationships that would not have developed through an app. It is unclear if this will continue to expand, but I hope it does. I am focusing on any activity similar to this, even if it is not explicitly intended as a singles event. I cannot bring myself to use those apps again. I am old enough to have dated before apps during their peak and through their decline in quality to the point where I could no longer tolerate it. I sincerely hope we have enough non-app options so that apps are not the only choice available. But the apps will always be there. I just hope they won't be the sole option. There is a group of people looking for perfection, even though they are not perfect themselves. They claim they won't settle, which is really a code for this mindset. The reality is that nobody is perfect, and those who are always searching will find that all they do is search and never truly find a mate. The apps cater to these individuals, who will always be there, constantly searching and trying to catch a better fish from the pond. That is fine. Let these groups engage in their lifelong, unsuccessful, and perpetual searches. They lack the maturity to understand real people and may find themselves older and alone when the dynamics of dating can change substantially in many ways. As for me, I want to find a long-term partner at a minimum. I have no illusions that people are perfect, and I believe that finding someone you connect with is better in person at a social event, where you can see more of the whole package rather than just a face you swipe on. You may discover someone unexpected whom you would never have met through an app. I am keeping my fingers crossed that we are transitioning back to at least some in-person casual events for meeting, but we have a long way to go and no certainty that it will happen as much as needed. Story 30. People are very selective these days, and often those same individuals end up making questionable choices. Story 31. Why is everything a market? People go to markets to get a good deal or make money. If you try to enter a relationship with this mindset, it won't work. Go out and meet real people. Talk and engage. Your screens are not real life. Story 32. Cesspit. Most people want instant gratification and attention. They do not seek commitment or the effort required to build relationships, often preferring to move from one person to another. Story 33. Considering I can't find someone I'm remotely interested in enough to go for a walk, hold hands, and get coffee, it's not good. I was just telling my friend the other day that I haven't had a proper crush in years, and I feel like something is wrong with me. Story 34. The current dating market rewards women generously for minimal effort and punishes men even when they make significant effort. The average woman can secure a hookup on the same day she creates an account on a dating app or goes to a bar at night, while the average man may have to wait weeks or months, undergo strict vetting by the woman, and not even achieve intimacy after several dates. Women can easily enter and exit relationships since most countries in the West prioritize and elevate them, unlike men. Women rarely initiate and have the opportunity to choose from many eligible options, while men often receive few affirmatives, and most of the time it comes from women who are less desirable. Story 35. Dating apps are problematic with ghosting and endless swiping. No one actually wants to meet up anymore. I gave up and started meeting people in real life. There needs to be a change with apps, something like drop socials that show who is near you in real time. We must get rid of the whole swiping feature because now everyone has too many choices and thinks they can easily find someone better after just a few more swipes. Story 36. Reddit is a prime example of the issues at hand. If you seek relationship advice on Reddit, there is a high probability that the response will be, "You should break up." Consequently, I find myself in a generation of individuals who excel at initiating and ending relationships but are entirely unaware of how to maintain them or resolve issues. Story 37. Tinder is much better than the other apps. It's quicker to sort through individuals looking for something casual. On Hinge or Bumble, you might spend a week talking to someone and have an in-real-life date before you realize they are only interested in finding hookups. Story 38. I think the internet has become the new dark alley for women. Meetup groups, book clubs, and early morning boot camp workouts are the best ways nowadays to meet singles. The internet has too many scammers, and you can meet someone you like online and feel no chemistry whatsoever. Coffee shops and supermarkets also provide good opportunities. Online dating is no longer effective due to the prevalence of scammers. Story 39. We will get along if you also like vasectomies. That was in a girl's bio I saw today, and she liked me. I swiped left and closed the app. Why put that in your bio? The dating scene is horrible. Story 40. It is very disappointing. I personally want to find a good partner to become serious with, to build a family and nurture it together. What does a good partner mean to me? She is loyal, kind, and preferably not involved in absurdities. It is a bonus if she is not on hormonal birth control, as it can have mind-altering consequences. I have tried online dating and found one woman I loved, with whom I almost got married. Unfortunately, that did not happen and tragedy separated us. I had another opportunity and found a woman I liked. We dated for a few months, but then she ended our relationship. In-person dating has proven to be much more effective for me. However, it often fails because many women today are overly political and demand an all-or-nothing mindset. You must completely agree with their beliefs, or you are seen as an enemy. This is an unreasonable mindset. Such individuals often lack critical thinking and do not appreciate nuance or perspective. Unfortunately, this type of behavior seems increasingly common among women, making it off-putting. A similar trend can be observed in men, though I do not date men. I avoid those who exhibit this personality flaw and do not cultivate friendships with them. Such attitudes exist in both genders occasionally, but they are more prevalent in those who identify with social constructs. I remain optimistic, as I have a long life ahead. However, I would like to find someone to enjoy quiet moments with, share snacks and naps, and be kind to each other while entertaining children. Story 41. I don't see the modern Western woman as having any qualities I desire in a long-term relationship, and I can't be bothered with short-term connections. Story 42. Social media has ruined dating. There is a new local group of singles that meets up. I looked at the women, and it seems they are the same ones I find on dating apps. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.